Hi, my name is Asha Skaria-Vettur. I'm from India. I did my MBA at Side Business School at the University of Oxford, and I graduated in 2022. Seems like a while ago. So by the time I had got into Oxford, I'd already lived the messy, hands-on side of building a social enterprise. I started my company Swara Voice of Women, in 2018 to create income opportunities for women. I knew what it felt like to convince women to take a risk. I knew how to do marketing. I knew how to work social media to get more reach. But what the MBA really gave me were the frameworks and the confidence to put that experience into a global context. Suddenly, my story wasn't just a women's project in Rajasthan or Kerala. It was part of a much larger conversation on how business can be a force for good. I also got a huge platform, a global platform, where I could talk about the missed out potential of women in rural parts of India. Um, it was the perfect complement. The MBA was a perfect complement. It grounded my lived experience in strategy, finance, and global systems thinking. I would love to share the program we did, the Global Opportunities and Threats Oxford. It's more like a project, and the experience was pivotal to me. So 6 of us, me and my classmates, we spent months researching why female founders receive such a small fraction of venture capital funding. At the time, it was 2% of all venture capital funding in UK went to all female founder teams. We interviewed investors, we interviewed female founders, interviewed multiple stakeholders in the system in which this problem existed. We mapped the whole system, and we dug into the structural barriers. From the lack of women in decision-making roles in VC to the cultural expectations that women shoulder caregiving responsibilities. It really opened my eyes to how systemic and global the problem is. I came away seeing Swara, my social enterprise, not only as a business supporting women artisans or creating income opportunities for women in India, but also as part of a much bigger fight. We were reframing gender funding gap as a missed opportunity for economies and societies. That shaped my approach to global challenges, that it was less about fixing one isolated problem, and it was more about understanding and working with the whole system. After my undergraduate studies, I studied statistics, but it didn't really call out to me the career options out there, like after you finish a degree in statistics. I was more interested in social impact, but I didn't know for sure which cause I felt most passionate about. It seemed like, my passion changed based on what I was confronted with. And I did my undergraduate studies in Mumbai, which exposes you to multiple issues like homelessness, lack of infrastructure support if you can't pay for it, many things like that. So I joined a fellowship program called Gandhi Fellowship, which is a 2-year program where I worked with government schools, but it also gave fellows an opportunity to work with any issue that they saw in their environment. And I was placed in Rajasthan in a tribal district called Dungarpur. And it gave me the opportunity to really listen to, live without distraction, really look at how majority of India works. And it gave me a lot of time to sit doing almost nothing. So I spent a lot of that time with women in the villages, because most households are run by young women there. There's a lack of job opportunities, and that affects both men and women. But ambitious men are allowed to move to cities in search of income opportunities, and women are not given the same option. So this left Dungarpur, like many other parts of India, villages of Dungarpur, filled with like ambitious, skilled young women who definitely wanted income opportunities. Money was always short. These are like places with there are electricity lines running, but the houses can't afford to actually have a connection at their home. So extreme poverty. So they wanted income opportunities, but they didn't have it in the villages, and women did not have the option to migrate to cities in search of jobs. So I personally felt, because of the time I spent with them, hearing their stories, I felt very passionate about this one issue of why there weren't more effort given to create suitable income opportunities for them, because you have to kind of work within the system and understand that women in these areas probably can't do 9 to 5 jobs. They need to have the flexibility. They need to have transportation from the village to wherever this job is happening. Can they do work from home? So I felt like jobs weren't designed for them, and we were missing out on a huge population who don't have the opportunity to move to cities, but have like a lot of ambition, skill. And that's how Swara started. And we started with connecting women artisans to consumers through Instagram, because it seemed like a good way. There were a lot of skill development programs giving women the skills to produce things, but there wasn't market access to them, and it seemed like something they could do at home, or they could come once in a while to a central location and do. And that's how it started. So it started as an ethical fashion brand, and now we also do experiences, curated experiences for people coming from outside the village, and they can come and spend time with these women. And these programs, these tourism programs, are run completely by women. So these are the two things that we do. And the whole idea of it is to create income opportunities for women. The go-to project, the one I was telling you about before, it gave us a lot of frameworks to really think about issues like global issues around like sustainability, ethics. We chose one that focused on women, but you got the framework to really think about sustainability, environmental sustainability, social sustainability, all forms of sustainability. So through the go-to project, it gave me the systems perspective. If we want more women-led businesses like Swara to thrive, we need structural change in how capital is allocated. I also did a course on entrepreneurial finance, which helped me see how, in order for entrepreneurs to get the right finance, you have to be creative in how you do it. Entrepreneurship project, another module of the MBA, gave me the space to think about Swara's scaling strategy with peers who challenged me hard on business fundamentals and sustainability. And electives like there were multiple electives focused on environmental sustainability as well. So these courses gave Swara both rigor and resilience. Oxford prepared me in two ways: mindset and skill set. The mindset came from being surrounded by peers. I did a program called the Impact Lab by the Skoll Center. I'd also gotten a scholarship from the Skoll Center. I was a Skoll scholar. And across the MBA, people were asking quite deep questions like, how can business drive systemic change? That gave me the confidence to believe that Swara belonged in those conversations. The skill set came from the core courses. I did finance, finally understanding deeply the numbers behind the business and where it's headed. Strategy, learning how to scale thoughtfully, and operations, thinking beyond intuition. Before Oxford, I feel I led with passion. And I think after Oxford, I could combine that passion with strategic clarity and the confidence to engage engage all kind of stakeholders who would help me scale the business to a global one. Some of the most powerful moments weren't in classrooms, but it was in conversations with classmates from, I think, over 70 countries. There were 355 of us in the cohort. I'd find myself over coffee with a friend from Ghana, working with women farmers, or with another working in Zimbabwe with youth entrepreneurship. Listening to them, I realized how interconnected our challenges were. That global exposure that I received from those conversations, it really widened my lens. It made me see the world, my world, which was till then very much around my hometown, Kerala, or the places I have been to and worked in India. I could feel like a global resonance in what I was doing. It also gave me a network I can lean on even now. So there are friends who I met in the MBA who I still work with at Swara. One of them, Princess Agina, who was my classmate, she's one of the advisors for Swara. So I think the community that it gives you is lifelong, and I think that's the best part of Oxford. Before Oxford, I was very much a doer. I really believed in like going and getting it done myself. And once it's done, I'm able to pull others along with me. And I think this definitely helped me get started. But I think learning how to slow down and truly collaborate is what I needed to get to the next level that I wanted to take Swara on. For example, my go-to team was full of people with different worldviews and working styles. I had to practice listening. I had to practice letting go of control. As a solo founder, I was very much used to, kind of having the final say. But this really challenged me. Not to just talk about collaboration, but really work with people on an equal footing. So I had to let go of control. I had to trust others to lead parts of the process. That shift from doing everything to creating space for others is something I carry into Swara every day now. And now my role is not to have all the answers, but to hold space where team members and partners can co-create solutions together. It was the best gift, and it's a gift that keeps giving, I say. It definitely meant that my tuition was sponsored by these 2 scholarships. It meant recognition too. It gave me multiple platforms to talk about what I was doing, but I think it gave multiple platforms. I see myself as just a channel for the cause that I'm working on, to talk about the potential of women, to kind of shine a light on women artisans in villages in India. It gave me that platform. But more than that, for myself, it gave me a community. Being a Skoll scholar gave me access to a tribe of change makers across the world, people proving that purpose and profit can coexist. It was affirming to me to see my story, starting a business with women in villages, placed alongside global enterprises, tackling climate and health. The Laidlaw Scholarship was equally meaningful. It not only supported my MBA financially, but connected me to the Laidlaw Foundation, which later partnered with Swara to support craft. Both scholarships weren't just about money. They really believed in me, and they continue to show support in what I'm doing. And they told me that my work matters and my story belongs there. It's hard to pick one, honestly, but this is something that I thought about before starting the MBA, that purpose and profit can coexist. And after that 1 year, meeting multiple people from all across the world, from all um, disciplines, it kind of reaffirmed my hypothesis that purpose and profit are not mutually exclusive. The MBA taught me that financial sustainability is what protects impact over time. Today, whenever I make a decision at Swara, whether about partnerships or scaling, I ask, does this strengthen our purpose? Does this strengthen our financial foundation? If it doesn't do both, it's not the right path. So it really gave me the lens and the tools to do that as well. But more importantly, it gave me like confirmation that both can exist and they should be thought about together if you want to build a company that exists 100 years from now. I imagine a world where businesses are regenerative, where they don't do just less harm, but actively heal communities and the planet, where women artisans in Kerala aren't the margins of the supply chain, but equal players shaping it, where funding flows to women founders, not as charity, but as smart investment in economies, because it really is. Where the measure of success is not just quarterly profit, but dignity, resilience, and sustainability. That's the future I want to be part of building. I'm going to talk about creating impact and starting a business. Start before you're ready. I definitely didn't have a grand plan before I began Swara. I had convictions, I had women who I wanted to work with, and I definitely had a willingness to learn along the way. Use your MBA year as a lab. Test ideas, fail fast, collaborate with peers, experiment in safe spaces. And above all, stay close to the people you want to serve. Solutions don't come from spreadsheets, they come from listening deeply to the people you want to impact. If you can anchor your learning in real people and their stories, you'll create impact in both meaningful and lasting ways.